the media capital of the world.
To participate in the general public comment period, please call now at 818-238-3335. For any scheduled public hearings, please call when prompted to speak if you want the comment to be part of the record. Speaking times will be determined by the total number of public comment cards and callers in the queue at the start of each public comment period. For 1 to 20 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 3 minutes. For 21 to 39 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 2 minutes. And for 40 plus total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 1 minute. No additional comment cards or calls will be accepted once the public comment period begins.
Interpreters are available for assistance with in-person public comment. Please connect with them if you are in need of services. Hay servicios de interpretación disponibles para asistir con los comentarios públicos en persona. Por favor, habla con un intérprete si necesita estos servicios.
Եթե տեղում մեկնաբանություն եք անում թարգմանիչի կարիք ունեք, միացեք թարգմանչի հետ օգնության համար։
Good evening and welcome to a regular meeting of the Burbank City Council on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Thank you for being here and watching our last council meeting of the year. Please join me for a moment of reflection. This moment is intended to begin our meeting with a positive and collective support for our beloved community. The City Council welcomes everyone joining us this evening. We encourage you to take a moment to reflect on our community and the work we will be doing tonight. Although each of us has our own unique reasons for being here, we are united in our passion for our wonderful city. As we pause, let us consider our individual contributions and what they mean to those around us. Let us find solace in knowing that by working together with a shared spirit of community and partnership, we will always act responsibly for the betterment of Burbank. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, how are you doing tonight?
I'm terrific. How are you, Madam Mayor?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. Please conduct the roll.
Councilmember Anthony?
All the way here on the left, yes. Here.
Isn't that where you usually say? Councilmember Perez?
Here.
Councilmember Rosati?
I am here.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Here.
And Mayor Takahashi?
Here.
Thank you.
We're all trying to get used to our seats and
Yeah.
our titles. And
Yeah, the only person who didn't move was Chris, right? All right, there will be 2 periods of public comment tonight. Members of the public may comment in person or by telephone during the general public comment period and must submit cards or call before the general public comment period begins. The first public comment period is for general public comment on any matter concerning city business and/or any agenda item. If you are here in person and wish to speak during general public comment, you should have submitted a yellow public comment card to address the council. If you would like to participate in the general public comment over the phone, please call us now at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until the general public comment period begins, at which time no additional calls will be taken. An additional public comment period will be available after our one report to council this evening. Interpreters are also available for assistance with public comment. We have Spanish and Armenian interpreters here with us this evening sitting in the front row. Please connect with them if you are in need of services. We have 2 announcements this evening.
The following are announcements for December 16th, 2025. Burbank Fire Department's Spark of Love Toy Drive has kicked off. Donations are being accepted from now until December 24th. Drop off new, unwrapped toys at any local fire station or donate online at supportlafd.kindful.com. Help make this holiday season shine for children and families in need. Volunteers are needed for the homeless count in Burbank at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Facilitated by the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, this point-in-time count is a visual snapshot of the number of people experiencing homelessness in Burbank. Volunteers may register by visiting theycountwillyou.org. For more information, contact the Burbank Homeless Team at 818-238-5182. This concludes the announcements for this evening.
All right, City Manager, Mr. Hess, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do not have anything to report for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, will you please report on our closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, and for the benefit of the public, the City Council met this evening at 5:30 p.m. to discuss one item of existing litigation in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 in the case of Anush Kemjian versus City of Burbank. This is a trip and fall case. The City Council took no reportable action.
Great, thank you. All right, we're moving right along tonight into general public comment. Before we begin the general public comment period, I would like to provide clarification regarding one item on tonight's agenda. Last week, one of our colleagues made an agenda request about the acquisition of Warner Brothers Studios. The City Council has not taken any action on this matter. Tonight, as part of the consideration of previously introduced additional agenda items portion at the end of the meeting agenda, council members will consider only whether to advance the item for possible consideration at a future meeting. We will not be taking any other action on this item tonight. We will now begin the general public comment. I will be calling out the speaker's name as well as the person who is next in line to speak. In order to keep public comment moving in a timely fashion, we have a designated seat in the front row for speakers who are next up at the podium. And a timer is also available on the podium. And this is also the last call for anyone who needs an interpreter. For those, staff will be released in the evening. Anyone need an interpreter? No? All right, y'all, you're free to go. Thank you for serving and have a wonderful holiday. All right. Persons may choose to use the first period of public comment to address an agendized report, but will not be able to speak on that item following this segment. And please state your name for the records. All right, general public comment is now beginning, and no additional cards or calls will be accepted. Madam City Clerk, how many public comment cards do we have for general public, and how many callers do we have in the queue?
We have 17 for in-person and 1 caller waiting on the line.
That's a total of 18? All right. So for 18 speakers, the time limit, you will have 3 minutes. All right. So our first speaker will be Cynthia Pease, followed by Diana Pulver. Welcome, Ms. Pease. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I took notes. Well, good evening, Mayor Takahashi and Vice Mayor Mullins, and congratulations on the appointments, and may the force be with all of you in your new positions. Okay, I'm speaking to you tonight as a member of the founding member of the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission, a newly formed arts consortium that will be realized this year, and a number of the local nonprofit arts organizations in the city of Burbank. Okay. First of all, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. It's going to be a fabulous 2026 with everybody encouraging everybody else. Okay. As you know, the arts bring business to the city, money, and they also bring the community together. And you know we're living in very interesting times, especially with what's going on this year. There are a lot of studio artists and people who are not working, who are waiting tables, provided that there's a business to work at. And I've run into a few of them that are working 2 and 3 jobs, and they still have to live home because they can't afford the rent in Burbank. With the arts, we're trying to, the next generation, bring them up with an arts consortium that will help everyone, and it's all in the works. Okay. First, I want to thank you very much for the arts grant that we have developed and is running through. Thank you, City Manager Justin. Thank you for that. And it's really helping. And you're doing the budgets now. And I don't know, have you done the budgets, or you're in budget looking at them yet? Oh, well, they're coming up. Look at the arts lines, please. There's a couple of things. There's the arts grants, and then we're thinking about doing an arts deputy like they did in West Hollywood for many, many years. Please continue to really look at those lines and support it to continue the growth. And we will all work very hard to use whatever you give us to raise cultural appreciation and awareness for the arts in the city. Okay, we're going to redo that Starlight Ball. We're going to redo the Little Theater and really bring it. We have a bunch of people that are so anxious to work on it and do whatever we can with your support. Okay. What did I want to say here? It is a year. This is the year where we can prominently display Burbank as an arts destination. So if we're not quite the media capital, let's convert it to an arts destination with the next generation coming up to run all the creative ideas that they have. This will keep, what do I want to say? Okay, this will help with our transition wherever we're going in the year. And also you have an item agenda coming up on e-signs, which is really for directional within the city or downtown. And that would be very good for events. Okay, that would help with, that's me, huh? Okay.
Thank you for your comment.
Happy holidays. Okay.
Yes, and so I apologize, I received the cards out of order. So Ms. Pulver, you'll be here speaking in a minute, and we're going to start from the beginning of where the stack was supposed to start. And our next speaker will be Ron Bax, and that will be followed by Jamie Keyser. So Ron Bax, you're next up. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, we're very adaptive here.
Good evening, Ron Bax. Councilmember Perez, I did not misquote you. During the general public comment section of November 18 council meeting, I presented the possibility of some housing providers may not be up to date with ever-changing housing laws. I did not mention that lawyers constantly debate the interpretation of laws. It was directed to the entire council. During that same session, another presenter attacked council members Mullins and Rosati regarding their history on housing issues. Council member Mullins and Rosati took issue with the presenter's comments. For whatever reason, I assume a tribal instinct because I and the other presenter address housing, you decided to go personal, scolding me and including, excuse me, housing providers and homeowners, stating we should be knowledgeable of the law. During the general public section of December 9th council meeting, I brought to your attention that you had not included renters. You chose to double down, accusing me of misquoting you, but then included renters in your revised expectations. You could have simply revised your expectations. Any reasonable person would realize you could not have fact-checked my statement and therefore was shooting from the hip. My opening statement at the December 9th council meeting, quote, I invite anyone who doubts what I'm about to say, go to YouTube, search for the November 18, 2025 Burbank City Council meeting, unquote, should have been a warning that I'd carefully checked my facts. Most vehicle owners do not seek out a parking citation. Usually they forget, but some think the possibility of being caught is small. When parking control finds a violation, does it ticket all vehicles parked on public property? No. Then why have I witnessed over the last 3 years that when a housing issue is brought up, council seems to want to penalize every housing provider? Also, since I have more time than expected, I've asked many times about a complaint form for housing providers. It took me less than 10 minutes to mark this up. I'll give it to the city clerk and she can pass it around. You can review it and possibly implement it in the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you for commenting. Next up, we have Jamie Keyser, followed by James Loker. I apologize if I misread your handwriting. Ms. Keyser, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Mayor Takahashi, Vice Mayor Mullins, council members, and city staff. I'm Jamie Keyser Thomas, CEO of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here tonight to strongly oppose item O, Council Member Anthony's request for a first step report on the feasibility of litigation to block any potential acquisition of Warner Brothers Studio based on antitrust concerns. Thank you for pulling me aside tonight, but I still want to address something directly. Constantine, you accuse the chamber of being nefarious, meaning wicked or villainous. When I confronted you about that at the Leadership Burbank graduation, you told me, quote, this is all theatrics. My response then and my response now is this. Burbank does not need theatrics. We need leaders who act in the best interest of our city, not leaders who leverage high-profile issues to put themselves in the spotlight. That is not what I am looking for with any city council member sitting at the dais. No transaction has taken place with Netflix, Paramount, or anyone else. There is no facts, no terms, no details, yet we are discussing litigation. If anything were to move forward, antitrust concerns belong at the state or federal level with the DOJ or the FTC, not with a city-level lawsuit. Constantine, you serve with former Mayor Perez on the Creative Economy Industry Task Force, created to preserve Burbank's media legacy and strengthen partnerships with this critical industry. This proposal does not oppose that. It risks damaging relationships with studios, streamers, and production partners, and undermines Burbank's position as a business-friendly media hub. The business community has serious concerns. A complex antitrust lawsuit could cost millions in outside counsel fees, take years to resolve, divert staff from core services, and expose city to significant financial, reputational, and economic risk with limited legal standing. In closing, I urge council not to move forward with item O. Let's protect the industry that defines Burbank, the media capital of the world, and put leadership over showboating. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. Up next is James Loker. Did I get that right?
It's actually James Coker. I apologize for my terrible handwriting.
Unless
there is a James Loker in the audience,
no.
And I just took your spot. No?
And
Okay.
following Mr. Coker is Mr. Scroggs on the next step. Welcome, Mr. Coker. Coker, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Beautiful room, by the way. Good evening. I'm a resident of Burbank in the Magnolia Park neighborhood. I'm here today to express my disappointment in the comments from Councilmember Christopher John Rosati. I found Councilmember Rosati's endorsement and defense of ICE to be abhorrent and repugnant. Councilmember Rosati, you and I have children in the same preschool. It is a school and community with people from all walks of life. ICE's current policies endanger many of the students, parents, and teachers at that preschool alone. People all across the country are being racially profiled and unlawfully targeted, assaulted, and detained. Masked men are breaking car windows and assaulting and detaining people without due process. A parent or teacher from our school could be racially profiled by ICE. Kids are experiencing trauma they most likely will never fully recover from. And as of October 2025, over 170 U.S. citizens have been held by immigration agents, many of which have been kicked, dragged, and also detained for days. What is currently happening will go down as a stain on our country's history, and here you are defending it. I'm here to state that your comments and positions do not reflect the values of the vast majority of Burbank residents. So my question for Councilmember Rosati is, what are you going to do to make sure that all Burbank residents are safe from being unlawfully profiled and detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement? Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. Next up, we have Mr. Scroggs, followed by Mike Van Gorder. Welcome, Mr. Scroggs. You have 3 minutes.
Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Mark Scroggs. I want to share some info and what we can do regarding the potential Warner Brothers sale. First, the company doesn't have to be sold. Offers must be presented, but they can say no. It's just they want to sell it. So this process can take years. I know Jamie mentioned that, and it will leave Warner Brothers in limbo and in trouble if it doesn't go through. No one's going to want to do deals or do things with a company who they don't know who's going to own them in a year. Netflix also, just in case you haven't seen it, just acquired the podcast division of iHeartMedia, so they could take over the video podcast and try to cut into YouTube. So just be aware that they're all over the place. And I heard twice today that rumors about Apple and Disney may be talking again, because of everything else going on. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Here's what we can do now. All state attorney generals can bring suits and investigations. Google Rob Bonta, then email, call, go on his site, or write him. Let him know to get involved with this stuff. That also goes with the city members individually and the whole community. Let the state and local reps know they should contact him. Also, ask your members of Congress. What they can do is to start, I know they're going to start investigating the mergers and the ideas, but one thing they also can do is revise a 1970s to 1990s bill called Financial Interest and Syndication, or FinCin. You can Google it. It's a long explained, but it worked until it didn't, until they changed it. This law already has bipartisan support, like with Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Mike Lee, so it can be done. Also, everybody should just share information and ideas with others. Many groups and individuals are getting involved. Reach out to them, talk to them. I recommend watching on YouTube the Richard Rushville Ankler conversations about the mergers and Jane Fonda's First Amendment activism videos. All are on YouTube. Look, no kings, and stay in LA, creative movements. We can follow that playbook and just do stuff. We can be informal, we can be creative, positive, and use social media. I plan to keep talking about this, of course, but I also want to say, I have 27 seconds left, Thursday night at the Burbank Library, there's a signing of Making Mary Poppins, one of the greatest films ever produced in Burbank and made. It's from 7 to 9, so I recommend it. I'm sure it'll be great. So they always talk about Casablanca and these other things, but Mary Poppins is the one. So happy holidays.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Mike Van Gorder, followed by Diana Pulver. Welcome, Mr. Van Gorder. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor. Congratulations. First of all, I support item O. But moving on. My name is Mike Van Gorder, and I rise because I refuse to allow callous remarks made in this chamber and in our public discourse go unanswered. To my fellow Burbankers whose concern for the feeling of ICE kidnappers outweighs their concern for the tens of thousands of Americans who've had their rights bulldozed for politicized racism and the millions more living under state-sponsored terror, and the at least 8 Burbankers who have been abducted from this community, let's start here. At least 75,000 ICE abductees have no criminal histories. Immigration is a civil, not a criminal matter. Undocumented Americans are entitled to all constitutional protections. ICE stormtroopers take no oath to the Constitution. They're not heroes. They are opportunists, snatching their neighbors in exchange for the promise of a 5-figure signing bonus. They do, however, routinely violate the Fourth Amendment protection of unreasonable search and seizure with papers, please, for anyone with brown skin or speaking a language other than English. ICE agents violate the Fifth Amendment, which states that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. For instance, trapping law-abiding Americans at their routine immigration proceedings. They violate the First Amendment by physically attacking peaceful protesters with mace or ban chokeholds and the unmarked SUVs with which they've invaded our communities. There have been no ICE agent fatalities this year because it turns out using 6 armed and masked men to abduct one woman in her 60s involves very little personal risk. There have, however, been at least 5 abductees that have died under ICE custody. Real law enforcement officers don't hide their names or badge numbers because real law enforcement has systems of accountability. ICE hide their faces because they're bounty hunters afraid of social blowback. ICE detention conditions are abysmal with acute overcrowding, medical neglect, cruel and unusual punishment of bare floors, no temperature control, and lights that are never turned off. My friend Bubbly, who opened the best Indian restaurant in Southern California and spent decades serving her community, is an American, and she's given something beautiful to this country. And her reward is to have ICE and its defenders consider her a, quote, bad guy. Just one more brown body captured at a routine immigration hearing and monetized in a private prison. I hear some people say, well, if she followed the rules, as if she had not. And I hear, well, she'll be fine, as if weeks or months of detention and family separation is something that she can buff out of a car door. Some Burbankers are unwilling to accept the magnitude of federal lawlessness, the trauma of unlawful incarceration and unjust family separation, because it may never affect them directly. If you consider mass goons persecuting an underclass of Americans as a precursor to fascism or as fascism itself, I ask you to contact me on Instagram or on Gmail at Van Gorder for Burbank, or join the Burbank Community Defense Network, because the community has stepped up to protect each other when so many of our so-called leaders have fallen behind. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Diana Pulver, followed by Jean Kang. Welcome, Ms. Pulver. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council members. My name is Diana Pulver, and I am a housing provider. Recently, another longtime renter moved out because they bought a house. This isn't the first time this has happened, and I hope it won't be the last. I believe it's only possible because I keep my rents under market. Now, however, I am tasked with rehabbing the unit for the next potential renter. The average overall costs of rehabbing a unit have gone up approximately 30%. If additional rent controls are imposed, it will be harder and harder for me to keep my rents low. I say again, AB 1482 is more than sufficient. I can work with it. What I can't work with are additional regulations and price controls that will make it impossible for me to absorb any additional costs. Something that mom and pop providers in Los Angeles are struggling with every day. Do not let this happen in Burbank. Don't delay my Burbank. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting, and thank you for being patient for the delay. Next up is Jean Kang, followed by Abdullah Qassem. Welcome, Ms. Kang.
Hello. I have a prop. It's a Peabody. My name is Jean Kang. I am a Burbank resident and a Burbank member and a member of a Burbank-based union, Local 839, Animation Guild. I'm here once again to demand that the City Council find a way to oppose the merger of Warner Brothers Studios, whether through litigation, public comment, or whatever means necessary to protect and keep jobs here in Burbank. I have brought my Peabody Award, which is awarded to the Star Trek franchise for its enduring dedication to storytelling that projects the best of humanity into the distant future. I worked on Star Trek for 4 seasons, all of it based in Burbank in a Burbank-based studio. Despite the popularity of my show and the multitude of awards it's won, including Hugo and Nebula Awards, the popularity of it and the efficiency of our production, we were canceled as the parent studio Paramount built up to their merger with Skydance. Mergers go against competition. It destroys jobs as well as creativity. And as more studios merge, it is the people in the community that truly pay the consequences. Burbank will suffer from the merger. Local businesses will lose entertainment labor clientele that is based here. All of us will have to move out of here as we are laid off and priced out. This affects Burbank as a whole. The solution to this isn't wasting money on kiosks or flock for surveillance. It is to take steps to keep jobs here with people who will spend money and pay taxes in this city. I want all of us to live long and prosper. And it will only happen with action from our elected officials listening to the people who live and work in Burbank. Thank you. Also, if you want to hold it, let me know. It's really heavy.
I may take you up on that offer. It's pretty awesome. Thank you for commenting. Next up is Abdullah Qassem, followed by Sadako Leong Suzuki. Welcome, Mr. Qassem.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous, but here we go. Hi, my name's Abdullah Qassem, and I worked in the entertainment industry up until the height of the drought. When I was a child, my family owned a liquor store on 75th and Exchange. As some of you may know, that is the ghetto. I once asked my mom if the area was any better than what it was when I saw it, and she said, Abdullah, yes it was. It was actually an up-and-coming neighborhood before the steel industry left. And as you can imagine, the area became progressively worse. As a current and previous tenant of Burbank, I was amazed by the health of the local businesses that surrounded the area as a result of the entertainment industry's presence. Stores were booming and the people were thriving. Anybody had a chance to become somebody. However, now with the rise of endless acquisitions and mergers, the work has drastically declined, and it has affected the local economy. The tax dollars that was once flowing has become scarce, and now we see businesses that we once loved disappear one at a time. I want you to imagine a future of a peaceful yet empty Burbank, where the cameras that surveil the streets of people that had crowds now empty. Vacant retail spaces constantly looking for tenants. Landowners who once rented their property to people who called their buildings home. Selling their lots, and as you shuffle on home from this new version of Burbank, perhaps you'll go home to your downsized one-bedroom apartment because your children have all moved to better pastures for work. I wonder if you'll think about if there was anything you could have done to keep your children here in the city of Burbank. Move forward with item O, protect the industry that we are so proud of here. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Sadako Leong Suzuki, followed by Megan B. Welcome, Ms. Leong Suzuki.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Wow, I've never stepped foot in here, so this is a very different energy, so thank you. My name is Sadako Leong Suzuki, and I've called Burbank home now for just nearly 7 years, which is not nearly as much as many people here, but it has been a pleasant time, and I would like to keep it that way. I, just like so many here, work in the entertainment business as a storyboard artist, and just like the two before me, am a member of the Animation Guild Local 839. And as such, I have deep concerns about the impact of the possible buyout and merger of Warner Brothers on both the workforce and residents of this city. In recent months and years, our industry has already suffered from so many mergers and acquisitions and layoffs, and we fear for another big one. Those job losses not only affect local individuals who work in the entertainment industry, but also local businesses who depend on the clientele from the entertainment industry. I'm going to actually go off from my own little script here to there was a lovely brewery called Trustworthy that many animation folk would go to on a monthly, daily, weekly basis over near Alameda, and it closed down, and I do feel like it is in big part because so many of their clientele used to live and work and thrive in this great town. And so when we hear about these acquisitions, these mergers, we think about the layoffs, the job losses, and not just for those directly affected, but every other branch and facet of this city. So thank you, Councilman Anthony, for putting this topic on the agenda today and pursuing any sort of thoughts on item O. And that's why I implore everyone here to, with any and all power that you can, please block this buyout and support item O to protect jobs, businesses, and community in Burbank to the best of your ability. I can only really speak for myself, but I'm sure there's many other residents who would support the money and effort to at least research the best ways to litigate this merger instead of things like funding third-party security and advertising eyesores in our community, unless it were to really support other than just advertisements. But thank you so much for your time, and happy holidays.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Megan B., followed by Hernan Camacho. Welcome, Ms. Megan B.
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff. I would like to thank Councilmember Anthony for his support with putting forth litigation against the acquisition of Warner Brothers by Netflix. As an employee of WB, this affects me personally, but also, as Sadako said, this affects our local economy much more. As we saw during the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes, the local economy was really very affected by the strikes. Businesses closed, businesses have not recovered, and we really can't afford to decimate Burbank by letting this merger go through. I know we can't do much, but as Jean said as well, we should do whatever it takes within our power to get this to stop. Secondly, I would also like to applaud Councilmember Perez for her unwavering defense of our city's immigrants as ICE raids continue to terrorize Los Angeles. Thank you. We hear you, and we are very appreciative. And shame on Councilmember Rosati for his rudeness, interrupting her on her last day as mayor. Your constituents will not forget that. Happy holidays.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Hernan Camacho, followed by Jim Lane. Welcome, Mr. Camacho.
Thank you. My name is Hernan Camacho. I'm just here to introduce myself with regard to the positions for the Heritage Commission. I'm 65 years old. I just retired, having worked in film and television for the last 40 years. I've been a resident of Los Angeles and Burbank for the last 65 as well. So I'm very familiar with architecture and design. That's basically all I really wanted to say. Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you for introducing yourself. Next up is Jim Lane, followed by Terry Freeman. Welcome, Mr. Lane.
Good evening, Jim Lane. Congratulations on the new appointments and the new reorganization. It's final grading time for me. I'm rather tired, but I was moved to come here tonight. Try to be coherent as I possibly can. Last week, we obviously saw Mr. Rosati's behavior. By the way, I fully support the comments made earlier. I'm going to go on a different tack here. If any audience member had behaved the way Mr. Rosati did, they would have been thrown out of here. So I really do hope that there isn't a double standard in terms of enforcing the rules of these meetings, that a city council person has to abide by the same rules that the people who come here. So I hope that isn't the case. But that behavior, as you know, I came to you last fall to make an account of Mr. Rosati's ranting and raving at me on my front porch, where, among other things, he got in my face, called me garbage like this. "You are garbage," 3 times. This is when he was asking for my vote. This had extended from a conversation that he and I had been having about his position on the LGBT community. I had read an article in the LA Times in 2015 that had discussed his involvement. It interviewed him with a Christian organization called Young Life, and it was discriminating against LGBT people. That issue is an immediate one from my immediate family, as well as many of the students that I teach. He came, it was a mess, and I tried to maintain my composure. But I wrote a full account of this on the Facebook City of Burbank Facebook group. Mr. Rosati immediately weighed in and said, mistruths and misinformations. When I reminded him the whole thing had been recorded on my Blink security camera, he immediately took that post down, okay? This is fact, okay? So anyway, so getting back to what behavior, okay? You just reorganized the city council. Ms. Mullins is now vice mayor. Ms. Takahashi is now mayor. A year from now, you will be reorganizing again. You are not obligated to put Mr. Rosati in the leadership team of the city council. I feel that this is something that one should earn through behavior, at one part, behavior on the city council. So next year, when you reorganize, please keep in mind his behavior a week ago. By the way, it's not an exception either, but it was perhaps for the first time, all of Burbank could see it on YouTube. Thank you very much. Happy holidays. Have a good night.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Terry Friedman, followed by Carmenita Helliger. Welcome, Ms. Friedman.
Good evening, Ms. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. First, I would like to echo the previous speaker. I want to condemn the behavior of freshman council member Rosati for his behavior at last Tuesday's council meeting and paid for by my tax dollars. He violated council decorum, disrespecting the mayor, a female colleague no less, in addition to the city attorney who had to step in, and then he had the gall to get his picture taken with Zonta days later, and all the work that they do for trying to stop that kind of behavior, putting women down, that he put on display. While the optics may be lost on him, they are not lost on me. If a man is so out of control with his emotions and willing to treat a woman that he disagrees with, as he did in front of the public and cameras, and merely at the end of his first year in office, I have serious concerns for his ability to serve the women and people of color in our community whom he may also disagree with. Next, I give you a quote. They were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. This is apparently the fate of city councils across the country, jamming tech into our humble streets that no one asked for. A corporate ad tech company knocked on our door and our city council let them in, simply just out of other ideas. But also, please don't call it a billboard. I mean, sure, it does run ads constantly, whether actively being used for wayfinding services or not, up to 17,000 ads per single kiosk. And yes, it is larger than life at 8 feet tall, but it's a wayfinding device whose primary function is advertising. Also, you're not allowed to balk about the new advertising, even though it was literally had it codified in our city to not allow it, because the federal government, in all their wisdom, stripped us of funding. We now circle back to the mega corporations that this administration cozied up to in order to save us. There were no town halls on whether this pitch is something the community wanted, needed, or consented to. It's also at odds with our Safer Streets action plan to reduce bicyclist and pedestrian fatalities, and it also violates the spirit of our new daylighting ordinance by creating blind spots for pedestrians along our public right-of-way. I want an amendment in the ordinance to prohibit exposure to drivers. Now, what is the primary function? Well, in Berkeley, where it's been there for 7 years, once the shine wore off the kiosks, the Ike kiosks, the average use for them was about 11 uses per day. Less than 1 per hour. And it makes sense. People aren't struggling for wayfinding information. We have cell phones. Yes, we are struggling for peace of mind. And these digital billboards are designed to intervene in that. They are digital advertising signs with wayfinding services. We are facing health crises, attention-challenged, memory-challenged adults, teens, and children due to the prevalence of excessive screen time. Are we not entitled to a screen-free city? I don't want a kiosk outside City Hall presented by Citibank.
Thank you. That's your time. Thank you for commenting. Next up is Carmenita Helliger, followed by Cheryl Bricker. Welcome, Ms. Helliger.
Happy holidays. Mayor Takahashi, Vice Mayor Mullins, Council Members Perez, Rosati, and Anthony. But I wanted to, in public, thank our former Mayor, Nikki Perez, for your service and for your year of a really strong term. So I wanted to make sure I could do that. My name is Carmenita Helliger. I am a 20-plus year Burbank resident, a library board trustee, and the chair of the Burbank Chamber of Commerce. I am here to speak about the agendizing of an item to enter our city into a litigation to stop the merger between Warner Brothers and Netflix. Our city has no place inserting themselves into what a company does or doesn't do. Councilmember Anthony, on March 25th, 2025, you stated that you wanted to mend your relationship with the studios and that being on Mayor Perez's creative task force will help you do that. Then you turn around and upset one of the largest stakeholders in Burbank. In 2012, Warner Brothers Entertainment released numbers on their economic impact in LA County and in Burbank. It was $4 billion for LA County and $550 million came to Burbank alone, via purchasing of goods and services from our Burbank-based businesses. That was 13 years ago, so I can only imagine what those numbers would be today. I am truly upset right now with you, Councilmember Anthony, because I feel tricked and misled by you. You and I sat down to discuss a possible film commission, and I did let you know that Burbank lost 11,000 jobs in our media and entertainment sector alone in 2024. At that time, you said if your involvement in this commission would upset anyone, you would step aside because you did not want to hinder anyone or hurt any of the residents here. And I believed you because I thought you cared. There are many businesses on the verge of closing. Some have already closed. We need to do everything in our power to create opportunities for our businesses and support the ones that are here. Council, I am asking all of you to state that Burbank is a business-friendly city and that they are grateful for the studios that choose to stay here. And please let our residents know that you are concerned and worried about any job losses. And let them know also that your goal is to support and retain and attract entertainment businesses to create jobs. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. Next up is Cheryl Bricker and Corey Mensing after that, and that is my last card. Welcome, Ms. Bricker.
Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to speak to you. My name is Cheryl Bricker, and I'm a SAG-AFTRA member, so I guess it's not a surprise I'm talking about the Warner Brothers situation. To allow this merger to go forward is undemocratic and should raise antitrust alarms. No benefit for anyone but the moneyed interests involved is conceivable. It will mean one voice, one opinion or point of view that will be allowed and eradicate diversity in opinions and narrow communication generally. There is no reason to believe anything other than profit for the very top is the goal, and that the creative community will be negatively impacted to the detriment of Burbank and the greater Los Angeles area. It is also a form of denial to think that this will not be negative for consumers, as all that power and content in a single hand will mean a monopoly and lessen competition and therefore raise prices. And I would like to also remind any elective body that you are representatives, not leaders. So represent the good of the community. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. And our last comment card is Corey Mensing. Welcome, Mr. Mensing.
Hello, Council. I also wanted to address the kiosk. This feels like the episode of The Simpsons, Marge versus the Monorail. I wish I had a picture today. Where Lyle Landley comes to Springfield and convinces the town to build a monorail they don't need. I highly recommend that episode if you haven't seen it. As a previous commenter noted, they got more time than Burbank citizens to present, and it was pushed through very quickly. We're just bombarded with ads in our everyday life, and I think I just got a pop-up. But it's like looking at any recipe online. If you're trying to find a recipe quickly, like my grandma loved her favorite Crimson Apron, then you scroll 40 ads, then you scroll 2 eggs, then you scroll full screen unskippable video. That's frustrating in itself, but it's easy to look away. There's more discussion about implementing video ads at bus shelters. When I spoke to David Kriske in the past, he said that current ad revenue from bus shelter ads doesn't go back to the improvement of bus stops, and I know this all too well. I've been stranded in torrential rain with that Julia Roberts perfume ad. Like, she has the massive smile. I don't want her winking at me. I don't think anyone should be discussing bus stops unless they've used transit. That's just one faction of this. I think ad revenue for the kiosk was to go to maintenance for the kiosk, but that's kind of circular. So if we're getting the kiosk to show ads and the ad revenue goes to maintain the kiosk, and again, as the previous speaker said, who asked for them? I just don't want more ads in my life that I can't look away from. I would only be for this if ad revenue was codified to go directly to quality of life improvements. So that's enough on that. I don't intentionally try to be funny, but I heard a lot of laughter behind me. A minute left. So finally I was able to get in touch with the FCC. Remember I talked about the FCC? That was during the government shutdown. So they were just as surprised about the blackout of the public airwaves in Burbank. So they weren't very helpful on that. But they said to talk to station GMs. So I'm waiting to hear back on a few station GMs because I think we all have the right to our public airwaves. Thank you.
Thank you for commenting. All right, we have completed our in-person general public comment, and we'll be moving on to call-in public comment. For callers, please remember to lower the volume on your TV or computer and take your phone off speaker when you deliver public comment. Madam City Clerk, do we have any callers on the line?
We have one, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
The first caller is Stefan Dumanis.
Welcome, Mr. Dumanis. You have 3 minutes.
Uh-oh. Am I up?
Yes, Mr. Dumanis, you have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. I apologize. I couldn't hear anything once they introduced me. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Stefan Dumanis. I am sorry that I can't be there in person tonight. I'm actually up in Northern California for an early morning board meeting up here. However, I did want to call in and reiterate my strong desire to serve on the Heritage Commission. I do believe I am a strong fit for the seat because of my deep appreciation for Burbank's history and my professional background as a realtor and having represented several vintage and historical homes in and around Burbank. I understand the importance of preserving our city's unique character while navigating the practical needs of property owners. I'm ready to get to work, and I'd be honored to have your vote. Thank you so much for your time and your service to our city. And that's it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for calling in. Do we
That
have
was
any
our
other
last
callers?
speaker.
That's yeah. Thank you. All right, there being no further public comment, I now declare the general public comment period closed. Now is the time for a brief response from City Council, City Manager, and or the City Attorney. City Manager, City Attorney, do you have any responses? No? All right. Council members, who would like to go first? Councilmember Anthony.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming down. I do want to reiterate what the mayor said at the very beginning of the meeting. At the end of tonight, item O is just priority and council goals. So don't, put too much stock in what's happening tonight. But I do want to address Ms. Keyser, Ms. Halligar. I appreciate your concerns. I know that when I'm outside these halls, I can be flamboyant and say some very interesting things. But I know when I'm on this dais, we have to stick to the facts, we have to stick to the law. I would never do anything intentionally to put us in jeopardy. I would make sure that what we're doing and what I vote on is in the best interests of our people. Please know that. To the other folks showing up tonight, we'll talk on item O at item O. So we'll get there, and then I appreciate everybody else coming down. I was surprised when Ron Bax was not first up. That was shocking to me. So that threw me for a loop. I know. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Anthony. Councilmember Perez. It's going to take some time to get used to that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you all for coming down tonight. Thank you for your comments. And thank you to our first-time commenters. I know there were a couple of you. I have been there before the first time. It is intimidating. So thank you for coming on down and sharing your thoughts. It's much appreciated. I appreciate everybody who spoke on the merger. I know it's an important issue for our community. And without getting into the item, I just want to thank Mr. Scroggs. Thank you for always being here. and once again offering us with a plethora of options and possibilities for us to consider up here. I really appreciate that kind of insight from somebody who knows what they're talking about. So thank you for that. And then to keep jobs here. And then Corey, you're funny, man. You got jokes. This is like the third time you come up here and you speak on council, and you make all of us laugh. So thank you for that, I will say. But thank you for coming up. No, you in all honesty, you explain everything you have to say and add a dash of humor, which I appreciate. But thank you for sharing. I am concerned about the station GMs thing you mentioned, and I'd love to talk to you about that at another time. That's really concerning. And for folks who spoke on the agenda items, we will get there when we get there. I won't go too into that, but I do want to thank everybody who applied for commission seats and either called in or spoke in person. And then finally, thank you to all of those of you who have spoken and continue to speak on the issue of ICE in our community. I appreciate you the same way you share that you feel heard by my words. I feel heard by all of you because this is incredibly important to me and the people that I care about here in Burbank. I hear my community, I stand with my community, and I will always stand with my community. So thank you for coming and sharing all of that. And I will continue to do everything that I can to stand with you. And shout out again to our Burbank Community Defense. So thank you all and happy holidays.
Thank you. Councilmember Rosati, did you want to go next? Or? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to Ms. Hilligar and Keyser and the speakers concerned about our motion picture industry and item O. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. To Mr. Van Gorder and Mr. Coker, my comments last Tuesday stem from speakers calling people Nazis and dropping F-bombs in our meeting. I'm trying to lower the rhetoric. Hate has no home here. When do we get to walk that walk? I never said ICE was doing a good job. Nothing to that effect. I think our current immigration stance in this country is a sad mess, causing unneeded stress and fear in our country to innocent people. Full stop. I clearly stated in the last meeting, I am concerned for our residents. I want good people to walk among us and bad people to be put in jail. I clearly stated that calling people Nazis, for me, is a bridge too far. I very clearly stated that there are different divisions of ICE, child trafficking, counterintelligence, bank fraud, etc., that have nothing to do with immigration enforcement, and that we shouldn't paint everyone with the same broad brush. I am the son of immigrants. My father left his hometown when his sisters, my aunts, as children, were killed, murdered by actual Nazis. So when I say that calling people Nazis is a bridge too far, I'm speaking from the lens that I'm looking through in the eyes of my father. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Rosati. Vice Mayor Mullins, would you like to go next?
Thank you.
Say it slowly so I say it right.
I know. Usually I go first because I'm there, but thank you, Councilmember Anthony, for taking that.
It's the seat. It's the go first seat.
It's the to go first. So thank you, everyone who came and expressed your concerns about all these different topics that we will be dealing with, most of them on the agenda tonight. I do appreciate a lot of the comments and feedback that we have received. Thank you, Ms. Carmenita Hellegarth sitting there, and I think Ms. Kieser just stepped out for coming in. I appreciate your feedback as well. Mr. Scrogg, you really brought some things to think about, and I appreciate that you're always looking for a solution and to ways to how do we maneuver a topic or a challenge in front of us. So I appreciate you saying that tonight. Also, I'm going to thank Mr. Camacho, Mr. Domanis, who called in, and Mr. Mansing for speaking up and applying for the Heritage Commission. We will be addressing that shortly here. What else we have? Well, everything else that's on the agenda, we will be taking a vote on tonight, or we're going to have a discussion, so we will talk about that later. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, everyone who came out tonight during this holiday season to speak on items that are important to you. Thank you all who called in, and thank you to those who sent emails, had meetings, phone calls with us since the last council meeting. For the folks who spoke on the agenda items, we will get to that in a bit, but I wanted to thank you all for coming out and speaking your truth about these issues and giving us your perspective. A lot to think about. Let's see. Ms. Pease, I wanted to thank you for always speaking up for the arts and advocating for them. I agree this year is a year for the arts coming up. Mr. Bax, about the form, the Landlord-Tenant Commission form, if you haven't talked to the staff yet, or please talk to them, and if you have, let's chat, let's figure out how to get that addressed, okay? And then Mr. Scroggs, again, I want to also echo the sentiments of my colleagues that you brought thoughtful and balanced approach to the topic, which you do very often, which I appreciate. And thank you for the shout out for the Mary Poppins event on Thursday. I can't go, but it sounds amazing. Our library programs are awesome. And there was a few, I noticed that the speaker, Ms. Suzuki, mentioned that this is her first time. There may have been others that it was your first time. I just want to welcome you to council chambers if this was your first time. It's challenging and it takes bravery to stand in front of us to speak. So thank you for doing that and stepping up. And the rest of the items we will address when we get there on the agenda. So thank you all. Okay, next up is the consent calendar, which may be enacted in one motion. Madam City Clerk, please read the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 7 items on tonight's consent agenda. Item 1 is approval of the City Council minutes of the joint meeting of December 9th, 2025. Item 2 is adoption of an ordinance establishing Title VII, Chapter 3, Article 11, and amending Section 1002, Title 10, Chapter 1, Article 10 of the Burbank Municipal Code to allow the implementation of wayfinding kiosks in the public right-of-way. Item 3 is adoption of an ordinance amending Burbank Municipal Code, Title 10, Chapter 1, Zoning, to establish a new school, trade, vocational use with related regulations, allow the use in M1 limited industrial and M2 general industrial zones, and clarify its permissibility in other non-residential zones. Item 4 is adoption of an ordinance establishing Article 10, use of gas-powered leaf blowers prohibited in Chapter 1, Health, Title 4, Health and Sanitation of the Burbank Municipal Code, and amending Section 214, Restrictions on Leaf Blower Operation in Chapter 3, Title 9 of the Burbank Municipal Code. Item 5 is adoption of a resolution making findings regarding the continuing need for unexpended balances of development impact fees and review of development impact fee funds as of June 30th, 2025. Item 6 is approval of a First Amendment to the fiscal year 2024-2025 Professional Services Agreement with Return to Work Partners to provide consulting and case management support for compliance with the Fair Employment and Housing Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. And item 7 is adoption of a resolution authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with Home Again Los Angeles to a homeless access center located at 2244 North Buena Vista, and approval to amend fiscal year 2025-2026 budget to appropriate funds and authorize the acceptance of future funds under the lease agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to move the consent calendar as stated.
Second.
Second. Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
Could I just ask a quick question on the item 2, the wayfinding kiosks? I wanted to ask real quick. This is simply an amendment on citywide policy. It's not for a single user or contract or purveyor of this technology, correct?
Correct. Good evening, Council, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. Courtney Paget with the City Manager's Office. What Council is considering tonight is approval of regulatory framework that would allow interactive kiosk program in the City of Burbank, but you're not actually approving a program. As we discussed last week during the study session, staff are moving forward with negotiations with a vendor, but that agreement would come back to Council for consideration and approval of the program.
So you're saying any contract with any third-party vendor on any of this stuff, that has to come back to a public meeting with its own report to council. People can weigh in and we can discuss that specific contract.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
A follow-up question with that. Yes. So what will there be ample time for the community to give feedback on any potential contract? Can you explain how they can do that?
Yeah, as we move forward with the program, and we discussed this, if any members of the community want to watch the study session from last week, it is online and available. As we were looking for council's approval, we have not yet fully vetted out the community outreach piece, but we do have a multifaceted approach that we will, further detail in specifics as we move forward based on council's direction last week. But we will be looking at a multitude of, community outreach and education efforts to include engagement, opportunities for people to provide feedback, to include as well the presentation to council on the agreement approval.
Great. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, can we have a roll, please?
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Yes.
And Mayor Takahashi.
Before I give my vote, I just want to say that I have heard all the concerns in the community. And I want to say that any implementation of this, using this ordinance for an implementation of a contract, we will do outreach and have plenty of time to give community feedback. If we do move forward, we need to do it right. So thank you all for your input, all your emails, all your meetings, all your calls. It gave me a lot to think about. I really appreciate all of the perspectives that were not that I had not thought about before, and I took notes of all the concerns. I have them ready for when we approach it and when it comes back. Your comments, your emails, your meetings, I took notes of all of that. But I want to continue to hear more. So please continue to reach out. Please continue to share with your concerns. So that way when we get to that point, if we get to that point, then we have that already started. And your concern for ads in particular has been heard. So I just want to make sure that. Okay, and my vote is yes. Did that quickly at the end. My vote is yes. All right, we have one report to council this evening. After staff's presentation, the City Council will proceed with in-person public comment only. Speakers will be allowed to speak on the item at the conclusion of the presentation, as long as the speaker has not spoken on the item during the first period of public comment. So for those of you who already introduced yourselves, if you have already done that, then you won't be able to speak again. Please be sure to submit your public comment card now, as no additional public comment cards will be accepted once the comment period commences following staff's presentation. The report to council tonight is the appointment to fill one vacancy on the Heritage Commission for an unexpired term. Welcome, Madam City Clerk Kimberly Clark, to please present the report.
Thank you, Mayor Takahashi and members of the council. City Clerk Kimberly Clark, tonight I will be presenting reports to council item number 1. On November 7th, 2025, the City Clerk's office began advertising and accepting applications for one vacancy on the Heritage Commission for an unexpired term ending July 31st, 2026, which was created by the removal of Commissioner Arthur Solis due to excessive absenteeism. To obtain qualified candidates, a notice of vacancy was advertised through the following channels: the city's website, city council meeting announcements, all social media platforms managed by the city clerk's office, Press releases sent to the Burbank Leader and myburbank.com. Notices posted on the City Hall bulletin board, community groups and organizations, and through constant contact email notifications. The deadline to submit applications to the City Clerk's office was Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 5:00 p.m. The City Clerk's office received a total of 7 applications for the commission. Hernan Camacho, Tony Anselmo, Jacqueline Salinas, Theodore Garcia, Stephen Dumanis, Zach Martin, and Corey Mensing. The applications are listed in the order received. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions council may have.
Great, thank you, Madam City Clerk. Now we'll take public comment. I have one public comment card, so you will have up to 3 minutes to speak. So our first and only commenter is Corey Mensing. Welcome, Mr. Mensing.
I was waiting to hear if it was me, even though I was the only one. Good evening, council. I'm obviously back here again. I will note I only apply when I think I can add unique value. So last month, when former Mayor Perez proclaimed Native American Heritage Month, moments after the announcements, including the opening of the Heritage Commission, my gears started turning. I knew about the opening before, but like within minutes, I'm like, interesting juxtaposition. Because if we're talking about heritage, Native heritage has to be part of that conversation. That is why I applied. I do want to be clear, I'm not Native. I am not here to speak for anyone. I can only be an ally, but I have benefited greatly from allyship in my own life. But I do think someone should be asking where Native history shows up in our heritage work and where it does not. Thank you, Mayor Takahashi, for taking the time to hear about my work and growth in this space this afternoon. Professionally, I work in entertainment and media. Much of my work is about legacy and preservation. So what I've learned from that is more often overlooked because no one is assigned to notice it, or if it's not codified. I've spent time in the Burbank Public Library archives, and when I think about the fact that downtown post office, where it's the only post office I don't mind waiting in line, because it's so beautiful, and City Hall are in the National Register of Historic Places, I see opportunities for the new library building to complement that history and help restore parts of the story that have been forgotten. Mayor Takahashi, again, you shared with me that this commission is primarily focused on buildings and built history. I understand that. I can certainly add value there. And I also understand that much of Native history here predates these buildings. Still, I believe it belongs part of the conversation. If I can help move that forward, great. If it should be someone else, I hope they step up. If it belongs somewhere else, I hope it can happen there. But I do hope it happens. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We have now completed public comment for this report to council. Madam City Clerk, would you like to run the rest of the item?
Oh, right, rest of the item. No more rest of the item. We just move on to the vote. By show of hands, please. I will read the names in order. Hernan Camacho, Tony Anselmo, Jacqueline Salinas, Theodore Garcia, Stephen Dumanis, Zach Martin, and Corey Mensing.
2, 2, and 1. 2, 2, and 1.
Never had that. I have not had that in 3 years. Okay. Second round.
That's how hard this choice is.
That's why I have this. I have a handy chart with 3 in case this happens, right? We're ready. Okay, I read all of the names again or just the final
Just
2?
the-
Okay.
yeah, final 2.
Got it. Tony Anselmo received 1 vote. Theodore Garcia,
No, it was.
I'm sorry, Hernan.
No, it was
Tony got
it
2
was-
votes and
yeah.
Corey got 2 votes.
Yeah,
So that's the
Tony and
runoff.
Corey, right, exactly.
Oh, okay. I missed somebody's hand. I apologize.
Yeah.
Tony Anselmo, who received 2 votes. The first round? Right. Yeah.
Are you doing second round now?
This is the second round, yeah.
Okay.
So there's only 2, and I'm sorry.
So raise your hand if you vote for
Where's
Tony
Corey
Anselmo.
Mensing with the jokes? We'll start again.
Okay.
We only have 2 finalists, so show of hands. Tony Anselmo and Corey Mensing. 3, right? They both received 2.
So maybe it would be clear if you can tell, who are the 2 finalists? Is it just Tony and Corey?
I just read
Just
those
the
2
two of
names.
them.
Tony Anselmo and Corey Mensing.
Okay.
Both received 2 votes in the first round.
So I'm going to raise my hand for Tony. Sorry.
So can we do it? Can we start again?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Everybody has this now, right?
Yes.
Okay. We're good. All right. One time. One final time. Tony Anselmo. 2 votes. Corey Mensing. 3 votes. Corey Mensing is appointed. Congratulations, Mr. Mensing.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. All right. This meeting's short, so I'm surprised we're already at the point of, yeah. So we're already at the point of council comments. All right, let me get my paper out. So that is the last report to council, so we are now moving on to council comments, including reporting on council committee assignments, attendance at conferences, regional meetings, and community events. Who would like to go first on the council comments and reporting out? Right? Councilmember Anthony, I'll start with you.
I'm in the first chair, violin. Let's see, what did I go to today, this week? Oh, I went to Barbara Howe's retirement. Oh my goodness. I think a bunch of us were there. I think half the city was there. Yeah, Barbara Howell, longtime director of Burbank Temporary Aid Center, has retired, and she's been there forever, community staple. She's done such great work over the years. It was sad to see her go. I think her legacy of helping people in this city has been cemented years ago, but she continued to do the work, and so grateful she passed it along to Home Again LA. That transition has been working seamlessly, and so we wish her well, and it's been an incredible ride.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Rosati.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Wednesday was a tough day. There were 7 events on that Wednesday, the 10th, and I was also on dad duty, so I couldn't make everything. So if I missed an event, I'm so sorry, but I tried to make as many as possible. I attended the BHC Shop with the Cop event to benefit Burbank Housing Corp. That was an amazing event. Handy Market pitched in with that. Walmart pitched in with that. The Burbank Police Foundation pitched in with that. It was very well attended. From there, I went to the toy drive for Hala at Tequilas, who did an amazing job. I've never seen such a stack of toys so high. It was wonderful. And then from there, I went to the toy drive for the fire department, and equally well attended. Huge stack of toys for I think it's called Spark of Love, and that was really great. And then on Friday the 12th, I went to the Burbank Association of Realtors holiday party, and they honored several key people in the community. That was very well attended. And then on Saturday the 13th, I went to Zonta Says No event, and we marched around City Hall and down Glen Oaks. And then Tuesday the 16th, which is today, I went to the retirement and celebration and presented our city tile to our helicopter pilot, Steve Conaway, for 28 years of service as a police officer. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Perez, you want to go next?
Oh, yeah. Okay. On Wednesday, December 10th, along with our mayor, then vice mayor. If I mess up, that's why. I went to the Bike Angels Holiday Bike Event reveal. It was great. They offer a lot of refurbished bikes to children throughout our nonprofits, and they're a wonderful agency and do great work if you're interested. And then I attended, along with Assemblymember Schultz, the Burbank Chamber Small Business Coffee Chat. We shared a little bit about what the city and what the state are doing for small businesses, and I appreciated everybody at the chamber. Great to see Carmenita there. On Thursday, December 11th, I attended the Valley Economic Alliance annual board meeting and gave them my second annual report as the mayor, which was great. And, we shared all the wonderful things that Burbank's doing. Our video was wonderful. Shout out to staff for making a great video. We looked a lot better than most of the other cities. That's just my humble opinion. Huh? We usually do. Yeah, we usually do. Not biased at all. On Sunday, December 14th, I attended SCIU Local 721's Armenian Caucus 15th Anniversary Celebration Banquet, which they hosted here in the city of Burbank, which was very wonderful to attend. And that same night, later that night, I recorded my final mayor's podcast with my Burbank. It's a great one. It was fun. I'm going to miss recording with Craig and Ross and eating dinner with them in the studio every few weeks. So thank you to them for making it a wonderful year. And that is it for me. That's all I did.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor?
Just like Councilmember Rizzotti said, on the 10th was a bit of a challenge running around between one event to the other, including 2 recitals for grandchildren, one in Porter Ranch, one in here in Burbank. But I do want to give a shout out to the event, Toy Drive between Home Again LA and Tequila. Ton of toys, a huge turnout. So I know that a lot of children are happy because they have enough toys. I attended the fire department, also Toy Drive. That was late after running around and doing everything else. So great job to them as well. On Friday, unfortunately, I wasn't able to wish Barbara, tell her goodbye and wish her well. I was under the weather, still am a little bit, and I could not make it. I couldn't shake myself to get out there. So congratulations, Barbara, if you're listening to this or you are, somebody tells you about it. So thank you for all the service and for everything you've done for BTAC. I really appreciate it. Then I, as all of us, attended the reorg yesterday. I think that's not on our agenda. I was like, wait a minute. I know there's been a meeting that I attended between my last meeting, but yes, yesterday was a reorg meeting and we were all here present. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. On Wednesday, with then Mayor, now Councilmember, I attended the Bike Angels holiday event, which was fun because I got to sit on one of the little bikes and ring the bell. And then later that evening, I had to work most of the evening, but I was able to sneak away after work to pop over to the fire department holiday party, which is always a fun event. Lots of great. Did you see those who went? Did you see the pastry spread? Yes. Oh my gosh, so good. Yeah, so good. And then Thursday, I went to the Valley Industry and Commerce Association's, or VICA, annual meeting and awards lunch. It was here at the Marriott, which was super convenient. I really like when they said they might bring it back next year at the Marriott. It's super. And then on Friday, I also went to the retirement for Barbara Howe for a wonderful tribute for her celebration. And I feel so fortunate to have been able to speak on behalf of the city and thank her for all that she's done for us. So she was really touched, and got to sit with her at lunch. That was nice. And then later that night, no, that's right. Hold on. That was, the 14th. On the 14th, which was Sunday, I attended the menorah lighting at the downtown Burbank Paseo because I won't be able to attend on the 21st. And I'm super bummed because it's supposed to be like this giant party, but I'm happy that I was able to be at the first night of the menorah lighting at downtown for the menorah at the Paseo. And then last night, I attended the Sustainable Burbank Commission. That's my report. Now is the time for consideration of previously introduced agenda items. As a reminder, this is a council's process for adding additional agenda items. The item for consideration tonight was requested by council members during the meeting of December 9th, 2025. For each item, the appropriate council member will have 2 minutes to provide a brief explanation of the request, along with how the request ties to City Council goals. After that, Council will vote on whether or not the item should be added to as an additional agenda item for consideration at a future meeting. If needed, Council may provide clarification or additional information to staff regarding the agenda item request. So the first and only item to Council is Councilmember Anthony's request for a first step report on the feasibility of commencing litigation to stop any acquisition of Warner Brothers Studios on the basis of, but not limited to antitrust violations. So Councilmember Anthony, would you like to take your 2 minutes?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So council goals definitely put us in line with protecting jobs and watching the local economy. However, there's a lot of moving parts to this. So I don't know what is on the table for us, and not knowing what we don't know, I'd like to make a simple request that we just get an informational memo from the city attorney's office on any steps we can take on the basis of feasibility, standing, and cost to protect jobs with regards towards this merger. That's it. Just to get some information so we know where we're at.
Clarification questions?
Yeah, can I ask just a clarification? Do you want a take-home memo or do you want to report to council?
At this point, I believe just a memo from the city attorney's office. We don't need to full report. I'd like to just hear what he has to say on this issue first.
Well, first I can tell you we don't have authority to file such an action. The state action for unfair competition is Business and Professions Code 17200. It's the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, that has authority to bring those actions, as well as district attorneys and city attorneys for cities with a population of 750,000 or more. There's 4 of those: Los Angeles, San Diego, San Jose, and San Francisco. So we do not possess the authority to bring such an action on our own, and I would have to seek outside counsel even to provide memorandum to the council. Also, the memorandum that I provide, if I receive direction to provide that, would be attorney-client privilege. It would not be shared with the public. It would just be advice to council. At that point, I would consider it anticipated litigation and would not be sharing legal strategy with the public. But presently, we do not have the authority, and I believe investigation into this could be quite costly. The agencies that have the authority are the U.S. Department of Justice for antitrust, the Federal Trade Commission, perhaps because these are broadcasters, also the FCC, and as I previously mentioned, the Attorney General, who typically is the official who ends up intervening in matters such as this.
Is it possible for us to simply, without having to go to outside counsel, just asking your office to put not just that in writing for us, but options where we could seek other, like the Attorney General's office or like other cities, basically other options rather than us bringing it to ourselves? Or does every ask of this have to go to an outside counsel?
The city's not authorized to bring an unfair competition case. We do not prosecute antitrust because we lack the authority. So I wouldn't be giving you advice because we don't practice that type of law. So I would retain outside legal services, which I anticipate would probably be expensive given that this is a very special limited forum. And I would do that before I would give you advice because it's not a practice area for municipalities other than those 4 that have a population over 750,000.
Okay. Well, then let me do this. I know I haven't used my full 2 minutes. I'd like to give a secondary option here. I would like us to send a letter to some other folks who may be able to help us out. If we could just send a letter that we're concerned about the merger, we're concerned about job loss, and send that simply to the Attorney General, to our 2 state representatives, to our congressional and 2 senators. Start that letter, send it out, say, hey, we're concerned. Please, take note.
Procedural
clarification question.
Yeah, clarification. So when you say our 2 senators are 2 U.S. senators? So,
Schiff, Padilla,
Padilla. Okay,
and then
so all
Friedman.
are California.
Yeah, and then Menjivar, Schultz, and Rob Bonta.
Got it.
Yes, Councilmember Rosati.
First, I want to commend you for caring and thinking outside the box. I just watched the video today of Senator Friedman about this very issue. So I think they're on it. I don't have necessarily a problem with sending that letter. Also, as I was coming in, there was a headline from the Wall Street Journal that says the Warner Brothers board sees the Netflix deal as more certain and a better for its future while having concerns about Paramount. And the board is preparing to tell its shareholders to reject Paramount's hostile takeover for the bid instead of supporting the existing deal with Netflix. So this thing is just, it's in so much flux right now. I'm concerned about I've been talking this, as you know, we were both on the campaign trail together for 2 years with jobs and in our local economy. I don't have a problem writing that letter to our local legislative bodies. They're on it. I've heard both Nick and Laura talking about this. And I know where you're coming from. And you're trying to think outside the box. Probably not maybe a press release. but again, I thank you for bringing it to us, and at least we can have a dialogue about it.
Yeah. Yes, quickly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So because we heard from so many individuals tonight, and also we received a lot of emails, I just want to bring out that this council is always concerned about what happens in our community. We're always concerned about the jobs, the job loss. We're concerned about our business community. We want the best for Burbank. We want to continue our economic vitality. We want to continue having jobs because that's what makes Burbank great. And I sympathize for the anxiety that this really supposed to be merger. We don't know if it's even going to happen. We don't know anything. Everything is so uncertain. And as Councilmember Rosati and even you stated, Councilmember Anthony, this is like a revolving door. It's going in and out all day, and a lot of changes. I too heard and linked Congresswoman Friedman, her interview that she did, because I was curious to know what's happening, who's talking about it. And even her stated, we don't know. We don't even know what to do. And my first question, and I think when you proposed this, was, do we even have the right to stop a merger? $100 billion, unless I'm wrong. I think it sounds like way out of our league. But yes, I think it's the concern of loss of jobs. But is it speculation? Is it reality? We don't know. And causing a little bit of anxiety in the community was completely unnecessary, because I think there were a lot more individuals that I could feel their anxiousness, I can feel their pain, I can feel as they are losing their job tomorrow. And God forbid, we don't want to see this happening in Burbank. Absolutely not. I don't want to see anyone, whether at Burbank or outside of Burbank, losing their job. This is very, very important. This is livelihood that we're talking about. But as a responsible council member, I need to see something to know what can we do, because if we're in control, if we tell our city manager, shut down the parks tomorrow and do a job fair, yeah, he's taking notes. This is in our control. It's in our backyard. So I personally would like, we're going to be dark for a couple of weeks. Maybe some things will be moving around in a couple of weeks. If we send the letter today, which, okay, you know, we've sent letters before. It's really not, you know, something unusual that we do. But if we send the letter today, what exactly we tell them in the letter? Because we're going to say, oh, you're going to cause, you know, there's going to be job loss. We don't know, right? Unless you can tell me, you know, for sure there is job loss, which again, I'm hoping not. A lot of speculations, a lot of information, whether it's correct or not, that we keep on hearing in the media. I like what Mark Scroggs said earlier. He really presented some good ideas. Look at this, and I wrote it down in my book, in my notes. So Mark presented some, I think it's kind of a weight game to see what could happen. And maybe at that time, when we have some enough evidence, we come back in January, we have some more information, then we can send probably an intelligent letter to say, here's what we heard, and here's what we oppose or we agree with.
Could I ask, would you be in favor of agendizing a letter for January so that when we come back, we can see what's happened and put something on paper at that point?
I don't know how the city manager wants to handle this. I think to get more information, to understand really what's going on, and then.
Sure. So what I would recommend if we're going down the letter route as far as advocacy, what I would do is for us to, this is a dynamic situation. The impacts are very highly speculative. I think there is verbiage that we could put, that we could get going right now so we could be prepared. I'd much rather be nimble and not have to take this back to the council, depending on when this happens. So if something happens next week, I could have something ready that you guys have all signed, and we could go and do it. If we have to adjust it, I'll adjust it. If I got to come back for something a lot different, I'd rather do that. So I'd rather be nimble, and if I get a majority to do a letter, we could draft that, get you guys to sign it, and we kind of wait on that and kind of be on standby depending on what happens. Sure. And let's say if it's Netflix, then we could then tailor it to the Netflix deal, or if it's Paramount, we tailor it to the Paramount deal. So I'd rather not come back because we are going to be dark for a couple of weeks, and I want to be able to send that right away.
Okay. May I ask the question, and just that we're specific, and I'm also clear. The letter would be going to our senators, not to, like, basically
state and federal.
State and federal, basically saying that we're concerned, Mr. City Attorney is, or Mr. City Manager, I don't know if that's a promotion or not, but no, okay. Then I flip it back, Mr. City Manager. So the letter basically expresses our concern about job loss in our community and the impact on our media industry in the city of Burbank. You know, just saying, we want you to do the best you can. We want you to work with whatever it is that the deal they're going to work on, because we don't know. None of us really know. Unless you have something that none of us here on council know, I'm willing to listen to that. Yeah. But job loss is my priority. Make sure that this does not create job loss for our Burbank residents or workers.
Just from a logistics standpoint, we may have to do two separate but similar types of letters, one for our federal legislatures and one for our state. So there, it will have the same essence, but we may have to tweak it accordingly, depending on, just because of their different rules.
Okay, great. Any more clarification? Yes.
Not clarification, just share comments.
Sure.
Yeah. First, I wanted to say absolutely, like the tailoring to the legislative bodies is also helpful, having been on the receiving end of many of those letters. And one thing I wanted to share is I appreciate you bringing this forward. I think it's incredibly important. And my focus is the letter that's going to our Attorney General, because that is the one person who can possibly do something about this. And I think a letter of support, basically sharing our concerns, asking him to watch the antitrust possibilities, and that we support any efforts they take moving forward. I think it's important that the Attorney General knows that we are on deck, because I presume that he is watching this. not this meeting, but watching the situation,
Yeah.
that is happening. Yes, Rob Bonta is probably not watching Burbank City Council on YouTube. I'd be very surprised. And if you are,
Well, now
hi,
I'm
Rob.
going to send him this clip. So.
Tell him I said hey. But in all seriousness, I know they're watching this. So I think a letter of support from the city where this is happening speaks volumes and maybe what pushes them to move forward. And I just want to encourage us, yes, sending the letter is great. And I do think now's a good time because it also lets them know, hey, we are also watching this and have this general concern. Yes, it's vague, but we're all concerned. We don't know what is happening. And I think that's enough to say to our legislators. And I would ask one thing, if possible, would we be able to send a second letter if things change? Because it may turn some kind of way, as our council member just shared. Netflix is one thing, Paramount is another, and we don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of this is up to the feds.
Yes, City Manager.
Certainly, if you do provide us direction to allow for additional drafts, if we're not able to bring it back in time for a council action, or if it's a action that is consistent with what you're asking, we could do multiple letters or whatever. I think the important thing, I do want to get direction that I would like all 5 of you to sign any letter. So if we do 2 separate letters, I would prefer to have all of you sign if that's something you could agree upon.
Okay. As the maker of the agenda item, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think definitely 2 different letters, one to our state folks, one to our federal folks. Definitely couch it in the jobs. This is our concern. We haven't seen anything yet, so obviously there's plenty of room for improvement and making sure things are guaranteed, but having the letter be flexible, I think, around keeping jobs is the key.
Okay, I'm going to ask the city attorney first. The city attorney.
So would something like a letter from the Burbank City Council urging our California Attorney General, U.S. Congresswoman, U.S. Senators to exercise their full authority to review the proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers to ensure preservation of local or not local entertainment industry jobs, something like that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I think
We would, though, kind of hold until there was a deal, or
Yes.
something a little bit more concrete. So,
Sure.
And I don't know when that's going to be, but we would keep you updated.
Okay. Yes.
I do want to have a comment to make, though, before we wrap this up, after you make your comments. I know that probably our studios, whether it's Warner, Disney, any of our studios are watching our action and looking and seeing what we're doing. And I wanted to make sure clear, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of the entire council. I'm going to speak on behalf of myself as a vice mayor here, sitting here. This by no means goes against anything our studios, the chamber. This is, we love you all. We welcome you all. We want your success, whatever, merger you're going through, whatever difficulties. I know this is not a local decision. This is beyond any of us. There's a lot of other people sitting there making those decisions. And this does not reflect anything negative on our studios and our campuses here in Burbank, because you are part of our community and we appreciate and value everything that you do. And I want you to hear that as the executive director of the chamber, and know that this has nothing to do with it. Our concern is addressing the jobs, giving a sense, I don't know if it gives even a sense of comfort, security, that we're trying to do something on their behalf, to speak up and send the letter. That's what's in our power to do right now. Okay?
Yeah, I think a lot of this comes from the fact Warner Brothers has been in Burbank 98 years. I think for us to look at the excellent track record they've had in our local economy and supporting them is tantamount. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Before we vote, I just wanted to echo similar sentiments that it is such an anxious time for us all right now. And the city, our residents, small and micro businesses, the entire economy system of our city could potentially be significantly impacted. So, and we all clearly want jobs and stability and a strong economy. So I think we all agree on that. And the big question is how. And so I think right now this makes sense to do, this is what we can do right now, and staying attentive and on it and in partnership with those who have more authority than we do, while also making sure that our voice as a city, that our concerns are in the discussion and being heard, and that we're not sitting back and just waiting, but we are trying to make sure that our voice is being involved in this as well. So I think a letter is, at this time, a letter is the best choice, and to move quickly when something happens. And if any, in the future, if something does change, we can revisit it. But right now, this is the choice I think that makes sense. Yes, Councilmember Perez.
Can we also be notified if there's a response from any of those bodies?
Absolutely.
Thank you. If they let us know. Sometimes they send it directly, like just to the mayor or just to the city manager or just to the city attorney. I know, again, on the receiving end.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
So Councilmember
I know.
Vice Mayor, I'm like, wait, let me remember who you
I
are right
put a
now.
little sign here. It says Vice Mayor Mullins on it.
We're getting it
says
by
Councilmember Perez right
by
there.
next meeting. We're all going to be okay. I just have one request for the entire council. If there is change, if there is any type of action that's taken on between now and January 13th until we come back to our council meeting, I highly encourage, and this is not a request, I think I'm just like almost saying this must happen. None of us go out in the media. None of us talk about it. We go directly through the city manager, directly to city attorney, and find out what's going on before we send out press releases, before we put it on social media, before we get the public all riled up, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't have a meeting until the 13th, so our hands are tied for 2 weeks. So our communications should be directly with the city manager and the city attorney of any concern that we have. And I hope you all agree with me, because this can really create a bigger issue for us, given that we don't have a meeting and we don't know what happens with the letter.
Yeah, this is such a large, important, critical issue. The five of us really need to speak with one voice together, along with the city manager and attorney, et cetera.
Yes, and I understand that. And now that we've had a public discussion about it, I think it's even more critical, because we're voting on it tonight, and you're right, we won't be able to have a public discussion about it until we come back. So,
Yeah, and if we speak with one voice, we'll have a stronger voice.
absolutely.
So, yeah. Okay, so let's take a vote, a roll call for whether to.
I'm sorry, can
Yes,
I ask
please.
one more question?
Yes, Councilmember Perez.
If warranted, or if we get a lot of questions about this, can PIO put something together to say, like, this is what council did?
Yeah, we'll do our best. Yeah, it's so hard to.
Yeah, well,
in the,
let me rephrase that. Once there's a letter, if there's a letter, can we have a little blurb from PIO?
Right.
I'll go with
Just
that. Yeah,
if we're
let's
talking
do that.
about one
Yeah,
voice, let's
yeah.
know what that one voice is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
will help you.
So I can
Thank
let
you.
the community know that we did that. Okay.
Excellent.
Great.
So I'll move that we adopt language per the city attorney's statement earlier, along those lines. Letter.
Right.
Do-
Is that all you
Do
need?
we have clear direction that you?
So what's the trigger to send the letter?
That's interesting.
The trigger to send the letter. So we have language. These would be separate letters urging the fill in the blank, California Attorney General, U.S. Congresswoman, U.S. Senators, each of them, to exercise their full authority to review the proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers to ensure preservation of local entertainment industry jobs. And are we waiting?
For something more certain
Yes.
Yeah, because they haven't signed an agreement yet.
So we need something more certain to be in place before we send the letter.
So that would be they entered into actual negotiations and they're looking at finalizing the deal.
That's my guess, yeah.
Yeah, because right now they're still talking, I believe, to Netflix and Paramount, and they're doing
Well, they rejected Paramount, but they
Yeah.
haven't officially gone into negotiations
Yeah.
with Netflix, so
That's close enough
Okay.
for us to
Yeah.
monitor.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're on top of this. You're
You'll
gonna
know.
figure it out when the time comes.
We will, and I'm sure you will know probably first, and we will let you know. We'll let you know that we're starting. We will get a draft letter as soon as we can. So if we just have to tweak it, we'll tweak it. But we will be in communication with this group since you're signing it, and as soon as we feel it's ready to go, we'll send it. And I feel like that doesn't preclude us, like the council member said. If we got to send another one, we'll send another one if something changes. If it's the substance is the same.
Okay, great.
Okay, so that's my motion on the floor?
I'll second his motion
Okay, so let's
based
do,
on this conversation.
Okay.
so we have clarity on direction? Okay, so if we could take a roll.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Yes.
And Mayor Takahashi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
for
I
that
appreciate it.
discussion. All right, our last action of the year as a council. Now is the time for introduction of additional agenda items. Do members of the council have any items to introduce? Councilmember Rosati.
You're speaking for me. I sent an email earlier about 2814 Empire Avenue, the 145 units. Can I get a report on that?
You're just looking for a memo,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, we'll get you that.
Could you repeat that, please?
It's 2814 Empire Avenue. I'm looking for the status of the 145 units that are affordable.
I see. Great. Okay, thank you. Any other agenda items? Okay, no?
Happy holidays.
I have two. No one else has any? Okay, the first one is I would like to request a report to council on the downtown Paseo improvements and plans for the cultural market. And then also I wanted to just ask about the report I requested about community event permitting process, in particular insurance. I didn't see it on the agenda forecast.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, that's it. You guys ready? Oh, okay, we're all going to say on 1,
Ready?
2, 3. Oh my God. Happy holidays. 1, 2, 3. Happy holidays. We now adjourn to Tuesday, January 13th, 2026, which is next year, by the way, for a regular meeting in the council chamber here, 275 East Olive Avenue, second floor. Have a wonderful holiday season, everyone. Thank you for being here.